Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is a show that we do on Wednesday night. On Sunday night. We do it on Sunday night in order to set up the week ahead. And as part of this show, what I typically do is to talk about some things that are on my mind that might be on your mind. We also run down the content that is going to be released from the channel. Again, in an attempt to kind of set up the week ahead. Normally, I am doing this show by myself, but tonight we're going to do things a little different. We're actually going to have a couple of guests on that are going to spend some time talking with me about some things that have been in the news as of late. But before we get to that, I want to give a huge shout out to Oh No Blue. Oh No Blue is actually the winner of the very first Discord giveaway that we have ever done. And shout out to Lee Atkins for actually running the Discord, setting this thing up, and putting me in a position to hook Oh No Blue up with something really awesome. And that awesomeness is right here. It is our guide, the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, issue number 1, the first print. It is a Slabs 9.6 that we are going to give away. So, Oh No Blue, I need you to go ahead and send me an email to Regie@regiecollects.com so I can bundle this thing up and get it sent out to you in a timely manner. And I will tell you that if you are not part of the Discord, you are missing out, because we are going to be doing another giveaway next month, and we're going to talk about that in the week ahead. I think that there were a total of 82 people that entered this giveaway. And like I said, Oh No Blue walked away with it. There are, I think, 450 some odd people that are part of the Discord server. So I definitely want to encourage you to, if you have not joined, to go ahead and join. And if you have joined, keep your eyes open to the channel for the next giveaway that we're going to do. I think that what we're going to do in March is going to be really awesome. So I encourage you guys to stay tuned for that. I also want to give a shout out to Army Vet 2006. Army Vet 2006 dropped a super chat on me for the Wednesday show. As part of that show, he dropped the super chat at the very end of the show as I was closing things out. I completely missed it. But one of the Blue Wrenches sent me a message as the show wrapped up and told me that Army Vet 2006 had dropped that super chat, so I wanted to acknowledge him. Also want to let you guys know that there is currently a sale going on regiecollects.com. It is my daughter's 5th birthday today, so we are doing a 10% discount on all graded comics purchased through the website. If you use her name is the discount code Adeline, ADDELYNN. Adeline is the code to save 10% on all graded comics on regiecollects.com. All right, so let me go to the chat real quick and see who all up is in here. I see Master Blaster. I knew somebody was gonna make that joke. When you throw softballs, somebody's going to take a big swing, and Master Blaster is indeed the one to take the swing. How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Matt Woods is up in here. How you doing? Mark, my Canadian brother, is in here. The OG Blue Wrench. How you doing? Tina, Squirrel Madness is up in here. Milt, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Chris Bigger is up in here. Turbo Man is here. Richard's here. Whose birthday is it? Whose birthday are you guys are talking about? Sidian. TSP, he says his birthday was yesterday. That's what's up. Happy birthday to your brother. Here's the thing, I'm going to give you 10% off. You head over to Reggie. I'm teasing. Seriously, happy birthday though, brother. That's awesome. I'm gonna tell you, no, that Simon, that spelling, no, sir. ADDELYNN. Adeline. It took us 4 months to come up with that girl's name. Lynn is my wife's middle name. So we wanted to incorporate something of my wife into my daughter. We came up with Adeline. My boy's name is Carter, which is my mother's maiden name. We came up with that in all of like 5 minutes. It was super quick for him. Adeline took months of debate. But thank you, Simon, seriously, for saying happy birthday to her. We've been celebrating this girl, like, I swear, for like a week plus. Like, there's something at the school that we had to do. There was like a family get together the other day that we did. We sang happy birthday to her today and gave her presents. Like, it's been a week-long thing, you know? So, yeah, it must be nice to be a little girl. Let me just say that. Oh, well, here's Richard. My 5-year-old can actually spell her name. She can also write her name, and she is also she has a stack, probably 2 inches tall, of sight words that she can actually read. It's actually quite impressive, and her handwriting is better than my boy. And my boy is 7. And you guys know how boys are, but she can actually spell it, and it's actually impressive. We did not consider the spelling. But she can actually do it, and she can write it. I'm quite proud of her. Fingers crossed that she is a lot smarter than her dad. So, Matt Attack, how you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Chuck is in here. Let me see. Reggie with 2 G's. It is good to see you, brother. Scrolling through the comments, I definitely appreciate all you guys. No, brother. She has a very nice rainbow playset out back that has a climbing wall attached to it. I think we got the King Kong. It is a very nice playset. Let me tell you. All right, scrolling through some of the comments. Yeah, man. I think they get it from their mother. I'm gonna just say that they get it from their mother. I will tell you that. All right. So let me jump into this thing. Because there's a lot that we're probably going to talk about. And again, huge shout out to Oh No Blue, who scored this book right here. You cannot buy this thing. You cannot buy it. But Oh No Blue has won it simply for being a part of the Discord server. Link in description if you guys want to join that. So last week I played a clip. Reggie, I'm not thinking about you, okay? I'm not thinking about you, brother, all right? So last week, I spent a healthy amount of time talking about movies and TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And then subsequently to the live stream that I did last Sunday, in which I talked about movies and TV shows, I then received a ton of messages and comments from people about what I had spoken about, specifically around the Doctor Strange movie. And I want to show you guys this quick clip. I want to show you this quick clip that I played last week that did not get me in trouble. With the MCU. They did not put a copyright hold on my video, so I'm very thankful for that. But let me play this for you guys real quick.
We should tell him the truth.
Now, here's the thing. I'm still convinced that is Patrick Stewart. I'm still convinced of it. Every time I hear it, I only hear it one way. But I have had a ton of people reach out to me saying that is not Patrick Stewart. It's not him. He's not in the movie. I've heard everything from the Council of Kangs. I've heard the voice is actually the Ancient One. I've seen all kinds of scenarios and theories that are out there. And now we actually have Patrick Stewart. We have the man himself speaking on this movie, and that mystery voice that we just heard. And I want to play this for you guys. And I want you to listen to this very, very carefully. What he's saying.
Came on the stage 60 years ago. I can't be held responsible. People have been imitating my voice ever since I came on the stage 60 years ago. So I can't be held responsible for that.
So now he is saying that someone is imitating his voice. That is his story. That is Patrick Stewart's story, that someone is imitating his voice, and people have been imitating his voice for the last 60 years. That is what he is saying, and I think he's lying. I'm going to just be honest. I love that guy. They needed to set him up with a better rationale and a better explanation for what that is, because even when you hear him talk, you're like, that's literally the same voice. But that's my perspective. That is my perspective. And like I said, I received a ton of messages from people over the course of this week with all different kinds of theories as to who that voice could be, who those chairs were that you saw up on the stage. And so I have a guest. That I want to introduce right now. And I want to hear from him, because I want to hear what his thoughts are, whether he believes that this is Patrick Stewart or whether he believes it's somebody else. And so I want to welcome to the show John, Chili's Pull List. John, it is good to see you.
Reggie, how you doing, man?
I am doing well, sir. The question that I have for you, is that Patrick Stewart's voice?
So before we get into that, I just want to say, first, happy birthday to Adeline. Second, your wife's middle name is Lynn. And my wife's first name is Lynn. So I have to give a shout out to Lynn. So Lynn, I love you, honey.
You see that? It's all what? Brother, I thought you were saying you love my wife. Wait a minute. Okay. I'm back
I love
on
my
track
Lynn.
now.
I love my Lynn.
You love your Lynn. Okay. All right. We're back on track. No. And you actually pronounced her name correctly, which is something a lot of people actually are unable to do. So thank you for that. I definitely appreciate it. But is that Patrick Stewart's voice, John?
So I really do believe that it is. He says in that quote, and he's not lying. The quote is, people have been imitating my voice for 60 years since I stepped on stage. That's a true statement. It does not take away from the fact that is him. I think it's a bait and switch.
So just to be clear, what you're saying is that he did not lie. He answered the question factually without actually either acknowledging or denying that it was actually him in it. So it's a factual statement that people have been imitating his voice. He just never answered the actual question that was asked. Is that your statement?
That's my take on it, Reggie. So he added a fact that is a red herring, in my opinion, right? So in that article from
comicbook.com,
he also said in there that Logan was the perfect finish to Professor X. You remember reading that?
Yeah.
So, and I think with the multiverse, essentially that is a perfect format for time travel, alternate realities, and I think it's a great way for Marvel to get people talking and having debates. I mean, this is what we do for fun, right?
Agreed.
So it's wonderful, and I think it's great publicity, PR. It's unpaid, right? Unless you look at the fact that they're paying him. And then one additional fact is I checked on IMDb, which has every actor, every movie, little facts about it, who directed, so forth and so on. Probably everybody knows that website. But on there, Patrick Stewart is listed as being a part of Doctor Strange 2, the multiverse movie. So he's listed, but he does not have a character associated with it. So, for example, like Xochitl Gomez is going to be America Chavez in that movie.
Like right? She's seen like 3 times in the trailer. When you watch it, she's in there at least 3 times.
Right. And so the other people that are in there are listed with their character name. His is just Patrick Stewart.
So what does that tell you? What does that say to you as you think about what you're reading and what this movie is about? What do you think that says, or what should we take away from the fact that he's not listed as Charles Xavier?
So I think that this is an ideal way for Marvel to introduce the X-Men into the MCU. I think by not listing it, they're saying what they're not saying is they're saying a lot. And I think it gets people talking. We've got a whole show dedicated to this. There are message boards, Facebook groups that are just going crazy over this. And Marvel couldn't pay for that kind of buzz.
And let's be honest. This is the fun of it. Right.
That's right.
Like this is nobody, like I had people sending me messages saying it's the Council of Kangs, it's this, and I'm like, you know what? Doesn't matter. This is fun to speculate on it. No one can get their feelings hurt because none of us know, right? Sure. There's no money involved, so no one can get burned. It's really about having some fun and playing around with these characters that we love and these movies that we enjoy. And that's basically what I'm hearing from you, is that it's really smart on Marvel's part to dangle all these things out there for us to play with, right?
Exactly. Very well said, Reggie. I think even if it doesn't come to pass, it's like with the Super Bowl, they were talking about having the hologram Tupac, right? Oh, that was the big buzz. It's going to be hologram Tupac. Well, then there are memes after with the guys from, from that pawn shop, right? Like, hey, I want a hologram Tupac. Best I can give you is like a 50 cent hanging upside down type of thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
or 70 or 75 cents, because that's what I saw.
Hey, that's a whole nother show right there. But my point is, it got people, there was a buzz associated with it, even though it didn't come to pass. People were still, this is what's going to happen, speculating about it, having fun.
Yep.
And I think it's the same exact type of scenario that we're involved in.
Because here's the thing, several months ago, I actually covered something on the show where I talked about how some of the directors that work on the MCU projects will actually purposefully shoot footage that has nothing to do with the movie, and they do it to throw people off that are working, you know, on the set, around the set, that will leak information, and they do it so that they leak things to misdirect, to keep people intrigued, keep people guessing, to keep people talking. It is very strategic and very smart on their part. Like Mystery Voice, give me a break. Anybody that hears that has to hear he has a recognizable voice, you know?
He really does, yeah.
But I have a quote, or not a quote, I have a passage that I want to read you.
Okay.
And this is the official synopsis to Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. It says, Dr. Stephen Strange casts a forbidden spell that opens a portal to the multiverse. However, a threat emerges that may be too big for his team to handle. And I read that so well. I hope the MCU is listening. Give me some voiceover work. But when you hear that, there is not a lot of detail there. Right there's some things that are being dangled out there potentially, but where does your mind go when you hear that synopsis, when you think about everything that's been debated about this movie, when you've seen the trailers? Where does your mind go as to what we might see with Doctor Strange 2?
So I think, again, it's a perfect introduction to a bunch of characters, and with the way that statement came across, I think my take on it is that they're going to introduce the Illuminati in this movie. So that allows them, a variety of characters to bring in and to introduce into the MCU, and then essentially the ice is broken, and they can go bananas from there.
They can go in a lot of different ways. And, let me ask you this. We're going to get the Illuminati, but there are several different versions of the Illuminati. Any thoughts on which version of let me ask it this way. Which version of the Illuminati would you prefer to see? Is there a preference there? Or is it just give me a good movie and I'm set?
Well, look, it's definitely give me a good movie and I'm set. Yeah. It's going to be food for thought, but, I'm thinking of the one with Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, Professor X, Reed Richards, Namor, and Iron Man. That's what I think of. That's, when I think of the Illuminati in my brain, that's the group that comes to mind.
Because that could be his team, right? I mean, essentially, I think Doctor Strange has been on several teams, like the Defenders, the Secret Defenders. Like he's been on a couple of different teams, right? Sure. But when you look at what's out there in terms of those seats that are up there, it kind of points you in the direction of this actually being like the Illuminati versus the Council of Kangs, which is another theory that I've heard thrown out there. But let me pause again for your thought.
So I think we should tell him the truth. Again, I don't know how much drilling down into one sentence in a promo we can go into, but that leads me to believe that it's the Illuminati. That plus there's a lot of spec on that book that's already, that's got the Illuminati on the cover, the New Avengers.
New Avengers 7, I do believe. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So that book is already starting to go to the stratosphere. Yeah. Just based on this. And again, so no matter what, Marvel wins. Like heads they win, tails they win, right? Doesn't matter.
It's a nice position to be in, brother, where you win no matter what. You gotta love
That's right.
that.
They gotta play some Snoop to that, like all they do is win. Yeah.
There you go. So for those folks that are joining late, I'm actually sitting down talking with John, Chili's pull list. John, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you for a couple of moments. Thank you for making time. Where can people find you on the social media should they choose to get a hold of you and to watch some of your content?
Sure. So Reggie, thank you very much for having me on. It's been a real pleasure. I do have a YouTube channel that's kind of it's been in a holding pattern, but really my main area is on Instagram. So it's Chili's Pull List, and check it out. I love to engage with people about this type of thing, and send me a note, and we'll discuss it further. So
wonderful post every single day. Coffees, comics, you cannot go wrong. I start my day with you, brother. I'm typically sipping a cup of coffee while I'm reading your post in the morning. So thank you for being part of my day. It's been a pleasure to chat with you, and we're going to have to get you back on. So thank you.
Thank you, Reggie.
Oh, I almost got it right. I almost got it right. John, my bad, brother. So again, for those folks that are hanging out, he does have a cool room, man. You cannot go wrong with that big Captain America shield back there. You cannot go wrong with that. Yes, he is indeed a good guy. Again, I spend a little time with him every single morning. I really do. And yes, I am quick on the draw. But here's the thing. We have another guest. We have another guest that is in the green room right now that has, I think, a similar thought to what John shared with us a few moments ago, but we'll see how the conversation unfolds. I mean, some of this stuff, some of these ideas, some of the speculation that we do around these movies and TV shows, it evolves over the course of time, right? And so dependent upon the input, you never quite know how things are going to shift. But I want to welcome to the show my man Devin. D3 Comics is in the house. How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
Oh, you sound crispy. Ooh,
yeah.
Yo, you sound crispy.
Yes,
Devin,
sir. I'm ready.
It is good to see you, brother. So here's the question that I have for you. I'm asking you the same question I asked John. Is it Patrick Stewart or is it not Patrick Stewart that is in the mystery voice for Doctor Strange 2?
So we can go two ways with this question. We can go the Andrew Garfield way, where he denied, and then eventually when the movie came out, we just saw him. Or we can take it as face value on what he said about Logan, saying that it closed a chapter, and he think that it would be a discredit to the legacy in ending it. And so I'm kind of going on the latter. I think it will be I think it will be Professor X. I think it will be Sir Patrick. Stewart, but I also think that the voice might be a throwaway. It might be a misdirect. We've seen too many times where Marvel has done things in trailers and scenes and stuff that's happened in the movie that we just don't see in the movie. One example is Infinity War, when we see Black Panther, Steve Rogers, the Hulk, Falcon, everybody in Wakanda running towards the screen, and then we just don't see that in the movie. So it's a lot of misdirects that we can get from Marvel that might be we got you, but we're going to switch it this way. And I think the only person I can think of that they might take in place of Sir Patrick Stewart is James McAvoy, who also played Professor X. It might be a younger Professor X. This might be he's part of the X-Men Fox universe as well. So we might be playing with that type of universe.
So wait a minute. So what I'm hearing you say, and actor names better than I do, right? So you're gonna have to bear with me, right?
Yeah.
But what I hear you saying is that potentially, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that what the MCU may do is to use the Doctor Strange multiverse door opening up as an opportunity to bring in the Sony movies. Oh no, the Fox movies, right? The Fox movies, the same way that they pulled the Sony characters into the Spider-Man movie. Is that what I'm hearing you say? Because McAvoy was the younger version of Professor X in that universe. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so I think in just the acquisitions that Disney has acquired. This is no Kevin Feige, Marvel, Disney. They are masters at the game of chess, and getting these acquisitions is no, plaything to them. They got the Spider-Man deal. They acquired Fox, which gave them the rights back to X-Men and Fantastic Four and everything. So I feel like, this is a way to almost do, if not a reboot, bring some of those old, Fox stars that were in the X-Men back and kind of play into this, possible multiverse where there's a world where mutants exist. And, that was always the question that people sat and talked about.
How are they going to introduce the mutants,
Exactly. It was like, it wouldn't make sense because we're so well established in the world of the MCU that just throwing mutants in a world that we already know just wouldn't fit. And so I think possibly bringing them in through the multiverse might be a way of doing that. And I think the Fox route might be the way to do it. Either it'll be the full adult X-Men that we see with, Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry as them, or it might be the first class. It might be when they're teenagers. We have no idea, but I do think that either we're going to get Sir Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy as Professor X, because they both play Professor X. You can kind of pull from either one.
I love Patrick Stewart, right?
Yeah.
I love Patrick Stewart. I was hunting in the 100K collection earlier today for Star Trek The Next Generation, issue number 1. I love some Patrick Stewart. But the reality is that Sir Patrick Stewart is not necessarily a young man, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to introduce a character like or a team like the X-Men, you may want to try to see if you can stretch it for 10 years, and that may not be the right thing for Sir Patrick Stewart. Unlike was it McAvoy?
James McAvoy. Yeah,
like James McAvoy, who I'm guessing, right? He's a much younger man. I mean, what is he? Maybe in his 40s or something like that. 30s.
Just about. Yeah, I think so.
I'm in my 40s, so I like to include myself in that younger man group. But that could make a lot of sense. And I'll be honest with you, the bait and switch of the voice for the older Patrick Stewart for the younger McAvoy could be a very wonderful thing. Like, that would be fun. That would be fun if they were to do something like that. And I'll be honest, I had not considered that possibility. What is it that has led you to believe that that's what they may do? Or is this you just thinking through it and landing on this would make a little more sense? Can you put a little more meat on that bone as to how you landed on this?
Yeah. So when you think of Spider-Man No Way Home and you think of all the Spider-Man that have touched the big screen, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Miles, those are really the only 3 that we've seen outside of Tom Holland. We know Miles has his own thing in the animated series. So bringing in a live action Spider-Man, of course, would be Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. If you're going to pull from people that have played the role and are beloved for, whether generation. I come from the Toby and Andrew and Tom, so I experienced all 3. And so I just think, what's a perfect way to bring in Professor X if you're going to do it both times? You have 2 actors that's played it, and they both look so much alike that we saw in Days of Futures Past. The identity is uncanny. And so I think, if you can get Sir Patrick Stewart and he says that he's done with the role and he's put it to rest, James McAvoy, I think, will be the next best thing. And either way, either we get Sir Patrick or James, I think we'll both be, to the roof because we both love them so much as Professor X. And it's like, what perfect way, to bring in the mutant side of the Marvel universe by introducing Professor X, whether it's the young or the old.
So let's talk about a challenge, right? We heard John, we heard John a minute ago say something. I said it a week ago. Not that my thought was original, so I'm not trying to go there. But the idea is that we could potentially see the Illuminati come into the Doctor Strange movie. The challenge, of course, is that T'Challa was part of the Illuminati. And if we're going to get the original Illuminati, we have heard Kevin Feige and others say that they are not going to recast the Chadwick Boseman Black Panther. Right. Do you have some thoughts there as to how they could potentially get around the untimely passing of Chadwick?
So interestingly enough, while doing my research, I found on comicbook.com Nate Moore, the VP of Production and Development of Marvel Studios. He's also the executive producer of Captain America, Winter Soldier, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And surprisingly enough, this is what he said in that site when asked about the casting and recasting of T'Challa. He says, "You will not see T'Challa in the MCU 616 universe. We couldn't do it." And so this leads me to believe that there's a loophole here, that in our main MCU universe, we will not get another T'Challa, but it doesn't exclude that we can't see a different T'Challa from a multiverse. And so if we're going to bring in the Illuminati from Doctor Strange, why not bring the Illuminati that represents a different multiverse? And I think that way you can have your Black Panther, your Reed Richards, your Namor, your Professor X, and Doctor Strange. And originally enough, the original Illuminati had Black Panther in the group. And so I think, if we're going off of, continuity in the comics and everything, of course, we know Kevin Feige likes to kind of dab in it, but not be too committed to it. But this would be a way of them, kind of finding a loophole in the promise of paying the respects of Chadwick Boseman's, excellent performance as T'Challa and Black Panther, but also giving the fans another T'Challa, and wanting us to explore that world, explore that multiverse where T'Challa is, the king of Wakanda, and it be a different person representing that role.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man, is that a lot of people, it was a very interesting time period in which he passed away, in which a lot of people were like, recast the role, like name the, and I'm like, that's the worst thing to do, is to name an actor right now when it's so fresh, his passing. Don't do that. And I think Kevin Feige and others did the right thing. They were like, no, we're not going to recast it. They just took it off the table. But then the other side of it was that a lot of people were like, well, you've now taken a major Black comic book character off the table. What about what he represents? Separating the actor from the character. What about what the character represents? And what you just alluded to here, Devin, from D3 Comics, is that we could potentially have the best of both worlds through the Doctor Strange movie, right? This multiversal event allows them to pull in a non-616 T'Challa, and get the Black Panther back in. It's again an interesting thought. And to John's point, John's like, well, if you read the words that Patrick Stewart said, he didn't lie. He just didn't answer the question. He introduced another fact.
Exactly.
And so I think you were saying this was Nate Moore. Nate Moore quote. But I think you were about to make a point there.
Yeah, and so also a thing that you have to realize is that, I think everything doesn't happen by accident. And so we've heard that there were massive reshoots for Doctor Strange. And I think, who's to say that adding Black Panther wasn't one part of those massive reshoots, or adding Professor X, or even, incorporating the Illuminati might have been one of those massive reshoots and stuff. Now that they got it figured out, they sat on it. They thought about, okay, if we're going to bring in T'Challa, who do we think could be the best person for the role, and bring in a new take and everything. And so, and who's to say that it even might be T'Challa? There are multiple people that have taken the role of Black Panther and stuff. And just to see Black Panther, once we hear the music or once we see the outfit, it doesn't matter who it is. Of course, we're always going to remember Chadwick Boseman, but just to see the mantle, the king himself, is just always going to be a heartfelt and, loving thing that we see in the movies. And so even though Shuri has taken over the Black Panther role, which is confirmed for Wakanda Forever, in that same issue that we first get introduced into Shuri, we found out that they have a brother named Sion, and he's taken over Black Panther, even though he doesn't really want to. And we can say that it might be him, it might be his father T'Chaka that is part of the Illuminati. So you just have no idea what Black Panther is going to go to. We might get T'Challa, but it just might be just a friendly face that we've seen or read in the comics that is just taking over the mantle at that time.
And again, when I saw that scene where Doctor Strange walks out it looks like a Black Panther on that left side, like that neck. That looks like a Black Panther to me. But I've been wrong before. But again, this is the fun of it, man. Like, this is the fun to like speculate and to mix in, the misdirections that Kevin Feige and others put out there for us with the history of comics and what we want to have happen. Michael B. Jordan. Yes. Michael B. Jordan, is there the possibility that he could be a T'Challa or a Killmonger that is taking on the mantle of Black Panther? Like, what's your thought there?
That might also be a case that has a lot of validity. I mean, we've been hearing rumors for a year or two now that, Michael B. Jordan might be coming back and reviving Eric Killmonger, and it just might be in the multiverse. We might get a multiverse where in the battle between taking the mantle, he actually kills T'Challa and actually takes over and now is the king of Wakanda and, went forward with his plan. I don't know if the Illuminati might follow suit with that, with that type of tactic or anything, but, it might be a way of bringing in, a face that's familiar, a role that's familiar, as well as he might not even have that same personality and mindset in that multiverse. He might be a different type where, he wasn't shunned in Wakanda, that from Wakanda, that he was welcome in it. And, T'Challa may have passed in that multiverse and he ended up becoming Black Panther because he is, next in line, so to say. So, I mean, Michael B. Jordan, I wouldn't be surprised either. I think it would make sense as well to bring in Eric Killmonger in that way. I think it'll be a shock to everybody. And we know the MCU is full of cameos and shock value. So, just to be seeing Michael B. Jordan there, jaw dropping, like that's Eric Killmonger. Like, what?
I mean, the thing is, he's been rumored to be everything: the Black Superman, Killmonger coming black, the Black Panther, Static Shock. Like the guy, he's a handsome guy. He gets cast as everything, and at the end of the day, give me a good movie, I'm on board. One last question before I let you go.
Yes, sir.
There are a lot of rumors about Miles Morales having a live action, and you could get some of that potentially in this multiverse. Would you want to see that, or would you prefer to see Miles introduced a different way outside of like this type of potential cameo appearance in a movie that does not involve him? What's your thought?
So I have a big theory when it comes to the animated side of Marvel. And so, I mean, I've been specking on it since Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Spider-Verse, and everything. That is not a coincidence that we are getting these animated movies of these, popular Black, beloved characters in Marvel. And I think that, they could be part of the multiverse. I wouldn't be surprised if we get an end credit in Spider-Verse once Across the Spider-Verse is all over, part 1 and part 2, that he might stumble across in the multiverse and come into the real world. That would give us time. It wouldn't just be like right off the bat. 2 years have passed since then. And so that would give the MCU time to, all right, we got time to recast them, make a bit older, if we want to bring them in that way in a Tom Holland movie. Like, it's just, I think, honestly, the animated movies are just not being made just to be made. I really think they have some key into becoming into the MCU. And I mean, when you really think about the slate that, Kevin Feige and the MCU have, debuted, a lot of those shows are animated. The X-Men universe is coming back. And who's to say that that's not a multiverse, that they might bring into? So, I mean, it's the animated movies and shows just aren't being made just for pure enjoyment alone. I really think that it might be connecting, that we got some animated universes that we can pull from as well and bring them into the MCU when we need them. And then they can go back, do their own thing, but they'll always be characters that we can just pull from whenever we need them. So I think that might be how Miles gets brought along. I don't think he'll be live action yet.
That's crazy. I had not thought about that. That's crazy. It's genius. I mean, Bishop, I'm going to just put it out there, Kevin Feige. Give me some Bishop in the MCU. Come on, brother. Let's make it happen.
He's a time traveler as well. So, I mean, who's to say?
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
And he was in the Fox universe as well. So, I mean, you never know.
And Kevin Feige likes to play with things. He likes to like hold true to canon, if you will, but he's not afraid to like mix it up and to have some fun with it. But for those folks that are joining us a little late, I'm having a conversation with Devin from D3 Comics, and we are chatting about the possibilities of what could happen in the Doctor Strange Part 2 movie with the multiverse and the doors being open and all that kind of stuff. Devin, it has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you, brother. One of the great things for me about these live streams is I don't really know where people are going to go. I don't know what they're going to say, and that's the fun of it for me. And you said some stuff here that sparks a whole lot of thought, and it's original to me. Like, I've never heard anyone say some of this stuff, so I want to thank you for bringing that to the channel. If people are interested in watching more of your content, getting a hold of you, where can people find you on the internets?
Yes, on YouTube, all one word, the D3 channel, D, the letter 3, the number, all one word, the D3 channel, and on Instagram, D3_comics, free to the public. We can talk, message, have dialogue. I post questions for the community to talk about, and I just love having the dialogue. And I think that's what it's all about, is creating content for everyone to hop in, enjoy, share their thoughts, and just be excited all together.
Well said, brother. And I'll try to put a link in the description for folks, for you and for Chili's pull list, so folks can find you a little bit easier that way. Devin, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. I'm glad we were able to get you on here, and thank you for showing up. I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night, and happy birthday to your daughter.
Thank you, brother. Be well. And I did not cut him off. I must get better as the show goes on. All right, so shout out to both John and Devin for coming on, man, and talking with me a little bit about this stuff. Real quick, I forgot to do this at the top of the show. I'm going to give you guys a quick rundown of some of the content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week, because this is the Ready, Set, Go preview show where I preview the content that is going to come out. So, sell your comics now. That is something that people are saying on the internet. They are saying you should sell your comics now. I'm going to talk about whether that is good advice or bad advice in a video that's going to be coming out this week. We are also going to talk a little bit about FedEx. We're going to talk about FedEx and how they may have gotten it right or wrong. I'm not quite sure. So that video will be coming out this week. And then one of the big questions that I've been getting from a lot of folks, I've been getting this question consistently for years. What books should I send in to be graded? And I did a video on this a couple of years ago. I've created a new video in which I am going to answer that question. What books should you send in to be graded? And it doesn't matter which grading company you use. The methodology that I'm going to talk about in this video will help you to sort out if you have a book, should you send it in? I think it is a very practical video. I spent a lot of time on this video. I hope you guys will watch this video and share it with your friends. So those are the three pre-recorded videos that are going to drop this week. We're also going to have the Comics Today show on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be announcing the winner of the short box giveaway. So if you have not watched the video, there's a video in which I talk about the fact that raw comic book collectors may hate this video. It is about slabbing. In that video, I tell you how to enter the short box giveaway. Watch that video for all the details. And then if you are lucky enough, you will win a $100 credit from Short Boxed. In addition to those things, we're going to be releasing a podcast on Monday morning at 7 a.m. No, at 10 a.m. And then we're also going to be releasing a blog post from Dave Bratton on Wednesday. And he has been on fire the last couple of weeks, releasing some wonderful blog posts on regiecollects.com. So I definitely want to encourage you guys to stay tuned for that. There is an email, I think, that gets generated by the website to kind of give you guys that reminder. But a lot of really great content coming out this week. I hope you guys will watch it. All right. So let me go. Slab the sale. Thank you, Turbo, man. I definitely appreciate it, man. You know, part of what I try to do with the channel is, as best I can, is to try to pull in different perspectives, different people. And you know, the challenge is trying to find somebody that has an opinion and a perspective and also a desire to actually come on the channel, because that's not necessarily an easy thing for people to come on. But both of the guys represented themselves incredibly well tonight, both John and Devin, and I am very thankful for both of those gentlemen making time out to actually come on. So one other thing, well, there's technically two other things I want to talk about. This first thing is about a book that Doug Bratton and I identified a couple of weeks ago. Oh no, Blue. Oh no, Blue. I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the show, but you, sir, are the winner of the Discord giveaway. I saw you in here. This book is yours. Oh no, Blue. Make sure you send me an email to Regie@regiecollects.com, REGIE. I will bundle this book up and send it off to you. It's going to be in a really large box because that's the only size that can fit this massive slab. So, oh no, Blue, make sure you send me that email. So, couple of weeks ago in a Blue Ocean spec video, Doug and I actually spoke about the Wild Cards issue #1. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, and then just the other day, 2 days ago, it was announced that Marvel Comics is actually bringing back the Wild Card series in the month of June, called The Drawing of Cards. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think that Doug knew anything about this happening. It was just honestly him doing what he does, which is to do some fantastic research to identify some really awesome properties that are not being, you know, paid attention to, and then flagging it. So we now know that Wild Cards is coming back, and this is what I think one of the covers will actually look like. But the article here that is on on Marvel.com says, spanning more than 25 novels, 20 short stories, and written by more than 40 authors over 3 decades, the Wild Card series tells the story of an alternative history where Earth is home to super-powered individuals. And this goes into all of the wild card virus, how some people have powers, etc., etc. So again, just really awesome timing on our part, and on potentially on your part, if you were able to actually snag a copy of this book from the dollar bin. I know that there were a lot of copies of that thing for sale for like $3 and $4 on the eBays. But if you were able to pick one up, congrats to you. We don't know what this new series is going to be about. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, potentially with this intellectual property. It's just really interesting that Marvel has decided to revisit a title from that long ago and to actually do something with it. And again, we'll kind of see where this actually goes. I also flagged this for you guys because we have next week, we're going to be dropping another one of these Blue Ocean spec videos in which we identify books that people are not paying attention to that you might want to pay attention to. So stay tuned for that. Let me look. There was a comment here. I bought 1 through 4 of Wild Cards for under $10 on eBay a few weeks ago. There you go. That's the way. That is the way to actually buy stuff, right? You buy it if you can, if you're speccing on it, before it becomes a super expensive book, right? You get in for a couple of bucks. If you lose it, who cares? If you make something off, that's awesome, right? That is the way to spec, and that's part of the reason why we do these series, because we're talking about books that typically don't cost a ton of money. So scrolling through, thank you, Chili. I definitely appreciate it. He said it was a genuine pleasure to be part of the Ready, Set, Go. You are very welcome, sir. Thank you for coming on. Richard. Richard, I was not ready. I was not ready for that. Anybody that knows me knows that I like to bundle your purchases up in a blanket of love known as bubble wrap and ease it on down the road to your Shout out to Richard. Well done, brother. All right. So that Wild Card series is from George R.R. Martin, who is of the the Game of Thrones history. And so part of it is that, you know, maybe there's a wild card, something or another movie, TV show that we will see in the future. Again, there is a reason for everything. And sometimes it takes time for the rationale to reveal itself to us. So to that point, though, this is the last thing I want to talk about tonight. Peacemaker's James Gunn to focus on DC after Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy #3. So you guys know this. I've been talking a lot about Peacemaker and James Gunn. As of late, they have gone ahead at HBO Max and renewed Peacemaker for a second season. James Gunn is going to come back and, of course, work on that. The show was a hit. The show was a hit. So it says, after returning to the MCU, James Gunn will stay in the DC extended universe and on TV. It says, I think I pretty much have decided that after I'm done with Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm going to be doing television for at least a year. My mind's made up on that. Not all the shows that we're dealing with are things that I'm going to be writing and directing. So some of them may take different amounts of time. He says Peacemaker, James Gunn, that is, says Peacemaker is going to be me writing, me directing, and spending all of my time on set. But the other shows that may not be me writing and directing or not directing all the episodes. So it also highlights here that he's developing a second spinoff of the Suicide Squad for Warner Media and for DC. I don't know if we know what that is just yet, but knowing James Gunn, it potentially will not be of a very popular character. You know, if you think about it, Guardians of the Galaxy, Peacemaker, and there's rumors around, I think, Ratcatcher. These are not popular characters. These are, to, I think, my guest point last week, your C and D characters, right? These are characters that people are not necessarily interested in, but James Gunn does a wonderful job of capturing our attention, writing these things in such a way that people actually enjoy it. And so that I think is one of the wonderful things about Peacemaker and about Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I don't think anyone saw that one coming, and it turned out to be fantastic. And so it'll be very interesting to see what the future holds for James Gunn. I did not anticipate him going back to DC. To be honest with you, I don't know. Maybe he'll bounce back and forth. It'll be very interesting to see how he plays some of this stuff out. We see a prediction. There is a prediction on screen that probably makes Squirrel Madness incredibly happy. It says James Gunn plus Booster Gold. What's funny is I found a couple of extra Booster Gold's comics earlier today as I was hunting through the 100K collection. So Ryan says, I have faith in James Gunn. There you go, Ratcatcher. That was the one that I had heard, Ratcatcher. So it'll be interesting. They did. Marvel messed up on this one. They really did, by firing him and then trying to bring him back. I think that gave an avenue for DC to slide up in there and to try to make some magic happen with him. And so when you treat people bad, man, they will sometimes remember some of that stuff. So Richard says, got HBO Max when I switched my AT&T plan. Really impressed so far. The new show I'm watching right now on HBO Max is a spinoff of Downton Abbey. No, it's from I think the creators of Downton Abbey. I cannot remember the name of it at the moment. It's not a very memorable title, but I'm watching it. I like period pieces, like Deadwood and Downton Abbey. I like period pieces, so I'm actually watching that right now, and I'm honestly enjoying it. Chris Bigger says DC going to get some time. Maybe. If Donny Cates does something wrong, then they'll probably fire him, and then he's probably going to go to DC. Scrolling through, what's an idea for a obscure characters? What's an idea? I don't do ideas. I'm not on the fly. I would need to investigate a tremendous amount of time, invest a tremendous amount of time, Mark, into coming up with a solid recommendation. Milt's over here throwing out Howard the Duck. The Guild. That's it. This is my neighbor. This is my neighbor right here. Thank you, Neil. I definitely appreciate it, brother. The Gilded Age. It is, I think it's actually set in New York City in like 1823, I do believe. And the episode I was just watching a hot second ago mentioned a guy that graduated from Howard University, my alma mater, and I just smiled to myself because I love period pieces, and then when they nod to things that are connected to me, I think that it's really wonderful. Matt, everybody's putting in their bid here. Everybody's putting in their bid for Donny Cates. Matt's expanded his. This used to say Donny Cates is writing Conan, and now he's incorporating Spider-Man into it. I will tell you, I'm gonna be completely honest. I spent some time decompressing this weekend because I was feeling a little stressed out. I may actually take tomorrow off. But I spent some time reading some comics, and I caught up on Miles Morales. I read like the last 3 or 4 issues of Miles Morales, and I enjoyed them. And then I turned my attention to reading Amazing Spider-Man. I had not read Spider-Man in a very long time, so I started reading Amazing Spider-Man, and I'll be completely honest, it is good. It is good. I started with issue number 75, and I am enjoying this story arc with the Beyond Corporation and Ben Reilly being back and Doc Ock and Aunt May. I am enjoying it. The art is decent. The story is fun. Even though it's tragic with Peter laying in a hospital bed dying of radiation poisoning, I'm honestly enjoying the story arc, and it is somewhat reminiscent. It is somewhat reminiscent of Superior Spider-Man, which is a story arc that is incredibly well done. If you guys haven't read Superior Spider-Man, where Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man, treat yourself. Fantastic run. This is not as good as that, but it is enjoyable, especially after coming out of the darkness that is Nick Spencer. And I think it might be a woman writer that's doing it, and I cannot think of her name, but she's doing a fantastic job. Thoroughly enjoying it. But yes, if we were to get some Donny Cates, it would probably be incredibly dark, but also magical. So I'll throw that out there. What is that? HBO Max has season 1 and 2 of Pennyworth, with season 3 in the works. Do I know Pennyworth? I don't know if I know that show. I need to reference that. I don't know if I know that show. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Brian's giving a shout out. Brian, it's good to see you, brother. I think you did a show with somebody tonight talking about the Comic Book Community Awards. If you want to go ahead and throw that link up in the description so folks can, I'm not the description, but the chat so folks can check that out. That would be awesome. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Scrolling through. KJ, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. DC will have a Gunn Snyder crossover. That would be epic. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Mark is rallying support for thumbs up. We always need thumb support. Did I ever find that issue of Lobo that you were looking for? I'm going to say yes, because there are only 2 issues, Lobo 1 and Lobo 2. There was some discussion around whether there was actually a Lobo 3 that was in existence, and I do not think so. But I do have issue 1 and 2 of Lobo, the Black Cowboy. I was actually looking at those books earlier today as I was going through some slabs off to my side here. So scrolling through some of the comments here, man, hey, Reacher, fantastic. And thank you for putting it in caps because it jumps out at me. Reacher was epic. It was epic. Scrolling through some of the comments here, Flash fans on board with that. So Parker, how you doing, brother? I'll be honest with you, man. My parents were over to celebrate my daughter's birthday yesterday, and it was cold. It was cold. We did soccer, and then we did my daughter's birthday. I will tell you, I absolutely love North Carolina. Absolutely love it. I love everything about it. My kids are happy. My wife is happy. In the part of North Carolina we live in, we don't have to wear masks, so that makes us happy. But I love it here. I really do. I got Neil as a neighbor who's an awesome guy, makes me laugh every time I see him. So there you go. Scrolling through some of the comments here. No, brother. There is a rainy and cold season there. that is wicked. Okay, it is wicked. No snow, but there is a rainy and cold season there. But yeah, the LA weather is probably better than Bay Area. LA weather is nice. I will tell you that. I lived there for quite some time as well. So scrolling through, oh, got it. No, I was confusing it with there's another penny show. There's another penny show, dark horror type of thing that never really came to fruition for me. It like started off really good, but then I think they ended it before it got really good. I was hopeful, but I have not seen Alfred's Pennyworth. So scrolling through, what is the book next to the Turtles? Next to the Turtles, which one? You mean New Mutants 98? New Mutants 98, that other one right there off to my ear right there, that is First Killer Croc, I do believe. Scrolling through the comments. All right, so we are all caught up. We are all caught up. All right, so again, some really great content that's going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. I hope that you guys will watch it and tune in for the channel, tune in for the content because there's some good stuff that is coming. And like I said, if you guys have not joined Discord, I definitely want to encourage you to do that because we're going to be doing a really awesome giveaway next month that you guys do not want to miss out. There's D3. D3's back in here. My man Devin. There you go. Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. All right. So let me wrap this thing up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me for a little bit. As always, if you guys need to reach out to me for whatever reason, you can do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.